So we have seen the current state of the world, the existing solutions that are proposed by the state, the market, and the institutions. And then we asked ourselves the question of whether we can trust these folks. And we went through a history of economics because that's where the math lies to understand the truth behind it. And then we realized there's this long finger pointing game that has been happening. So no one really cares about us except us, and us equals I. So we ground up built how this individual identity should look like and how we can build us from I by coming together through skill-based communities. We also saw how all these communities will come together to create this new financial and economic institution that can really balance out the state and the markets hold on us. And we also saw how this can be brought down to our day-to-day life and logging our time with the communities that we are part of, and thereby solving all the initial problems that we talked about. Now, this is the math of the Internet of Value, but we're not going to delve deeper into this. We will have a document published on this. You can go through that. The next one would be a demo of how this log can work. All right, so we said at a fundamental level, everyone is logging their time block, right? So for example, I would say 11:11 to 12, 13:11. The Internet of Value walkthrough. And this video I will upload on YouTube, and I'll add the link of that over here. So now this is not part of physiology, emotions, feelings, thoughts, habits. It's really part of my performance over here, which is tied to a specific community. In this case, that community would be Community Venture Studio. Because to take the Internet of Value to the market, we have set up this venture studio called Community Venture Studio, which will incubate and accelerate skill-based communities which are in alignment with SAO Commons and the value capture and IOV protocol stack, basically. So what was I doing over there? I'm basically building the community itself. I'm not making money. I'm not learning also. It's part of my community building experience. So eventually, anyone who wants to be part of Community Venture Studio will replace me to tell the same story of the Internet of Value or better stories of the Internet of Value. This could be communication as a soft skill that I'm focused on. And what is the virtue here? It's integrity, right? So just look at this. The moment you become conscious about each time block that you have, right? Not just your skills, but also your virtues and values. How powerful would that be if everyone is doing this? And incentivized to do this. I understand there's a lot of change in terms of the way that we work. So there should be gamified incentives, and we are trying to get there as quick as possible. All right, so the math, right? So once this is done, this gets captured into my spreadsheet where this is there. Now let me see how the value creation is captured. Okay, right. So which is today 10:02, and time spent is 2 hours because 11 to 11 p.m. we said, and it's part of performance. We'll come to this minimum growth required later, but the new well-being score is the same as my previous thing, and the community was Community Venture Studio. And within that, I've taken the skill of community building. So each community has a specific skill, which is community building. And I have a per hour rate for me over there, which is $100. So I spent 2 hours, which means I should have created value worth $200. But the net value that is created is only $169. The reason being, my well-being score is just 842.97, so over 1,000. So we normalize it to 1, and I'm coming to $169, right? So now look at the power of this. Now, if you are the founder of Community Venture Studio, and if this is a log that you see of a person who is part of Community Venture Studio, you you can maximize the value that of the time that a person has put into this community by asking them to either improve their well-being score or level up so that the per hour rate improves, right? Right now it's $100. So if I look at the inputs, my community building per hour rate is $100, but I'm at level 3 over there. So when I go to level 4, my per hour rate will become $150, right? So either ways, the employee gets better or the person gets better. Either their well-being score improves or their per hour rate improves, so that the value that the community will accrue or take away from this log of a person can be improved by improving their well-being score or their per hour rate, right? Okay, so now let's look at one other way of response, which is not related to performance, right? So the same day, so I go for yoga. As part of, so I went for yoga, so that's part of my physiology. And then it's how good was my session compared to yesterday. So I'm again thinking, I would say 5% better. Okay. It's just subjective. And then it skipped all the data that it asked me about community, what's the node within the community, all those things are gone. It's basically self-respect with compassion. Because I'm getting better, but even if I don't achieve 5% or 1%, it's still okay. So that self-respect is there, but the compassion should also be on top of it. So now let's look at how this would have worked. So here, as you can see, it was 1 hour, 7:15 to 8:15 a.m. physiology, 5% improvement. Now, let's look at this. Minimum growth required was 1%. Okay, which is so my well-being score is in this current range of 800 to 900, and my minimum requirement growth is 1% on every log factor, but I've created 5% improvement, so the delta in improvement is 4. So my well-being score has now improved from 842.97 to 843.08. See, every single time block that you're entering can either have an impact on your well-being score or on your performance score, which is the value that you're creating within a community. Eventually, this will come back into your well-being score also, but not directly. Okay. So the next time you log something within this, let any of the other community time, then this new well-being score will be added to it. So instead of 169, it would have been a little more because my well-being score had improved, right? See, so that's the power of letting members or employees focus on their own well-being so that your companies or the collective's overall value keeps increasing as well. So this is the demo of how you can log your time, and in that process you get better and the collective that you're part of also gets better.